Good day, everybody. It is that time of the week again where I pop myself into your YouTube feed and tell you a story in an instantly forgettable video in which I ramble on too long about stuff you're just not interested in before I actually get to the point of the story. For example, did I ever tell you about the time my gran made it onto Family Fortunes, but before filming started got smashed on 10 pints of lager?
A slang word for money. Eva. Bitch. Pardon?
Yeah, go on, Gran. Take no prisoners. You know, they actually had to stop filming when they asked her for words that rhyme with James Blunt. It was quite the eventful day. Anyway, today's story isn't about my gran. And it isn't about the odd new direction Netflix have decided to take the new He-Man series.
He's back all right. I'd sure like to fist him.
Yeah, no wonder Cringer was always hiding away somewhere. Still, today's story is not about a lot of things. It's also not about this tweet I've got from one of the most recent graduates of the Flat Earth University. No, it isn't about any of those things. Today's story is a sad one involving personal distress, worry, and snake oil salesmen putting hundreds of lives at risk in their attempt to exploit a desperate individual. So to start this story, I'm going to hop back in my time machine, but only as far back as 2018. So here we are, back in February of 2018, and I've just stumbled across this article from an Austrian news site. Now, of course, I can't understand what it's saying, but it does have pictures to look at. So, of course, like a flat earther staring at the magic, mysterious symbols on a calculator, I was transfixed, and I had to find out what was going on. A bit of Google Translate ninja skills tells me that this is a mystery story. A mystery story about a town whose water supplies have been poisoned with mercury. Now, that was a bit of relief because at first I thought that this was a picture of somebody's backyard swimming pool after my wife had let one rip in there. So anyway, I started to investigate further. And what I found was that image was of a sewage works in North Austria in a place that I think is pronounced Verkleburg. Staff monitoring the water at the plant were horrified to find suddenly high levels of mercury in the water, as if somebody was deliberately poisoning the water supply. In fact, over the course of just a few months, 9 pounds of mercury had been dumped into the water supplies, raising the levels of mercury to twice the safe limit. Now, luckily, using modern technology in the form of mercury detectors, the source of this pollution could be traced. And I believe back in the studio, my co-host has Ken on the line, who is able to give us more information. So, back to you guys.
Ken, what have you learned, sir?
Shit. Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. You're about as useful as a eggy fart in a hot lift. So, I guess I should go and fill the gaps in. The mercury detector led the investigators back to a private home, and when they arrived at the home, they could see through the window lots of burning candles and some sort of shrine. Now, that might sound like an interesting setup, but what unfolded was unbelievably heartbreaking and infuriating at the same time. It turns out that a 50-year-old woman was living in this apartment. A 50-year-old woman who was suffering from cancer. And she'd turned to spiritual healing to try and help her. She'd flown all the way to India and visited a monastery there where she believed that there were spiritual healers that could help her. While at that monastery, she was fleeced for an absolute fortune and bought 10 kilograms worth of creams and powders that she believed were going to cure her. Now, in the short term, this may have given her some mental health relief, but obviously in the long term, things were never going to pan out the way she wanted. The cream that she was given contained over 25% mercury. The powder that she purchased contained nearly 40% pure mercury. The results were as inevitable as they are saddening. The lady simply gave herself mercury poisoning and ended up in hospital, needing treatment for mercury poisoning on top of the treatment she needed for her already serious condition. The creams and powders she was using were simply being washed off in the shower and ended up contaminating the water supply for the entire town, leading to the entire sewage system between her apartment and the treatment plant needing decontamination. Now, as guilty as the woman was, you've really got to feel for it, and it's not a story I want to make light of. But it is a story that reminds us of the importance of science education and the dangers of turning your back on science in favour of what some mystery guy tells you. Some mystery guy who claims to have all the answers, which he and only he knows, while the scientific world is far too much asleep to be aware of them. And sadly, this type of utter crap is seeping more and more into Western society. I made a video a few months ago about the LifeWave X39 patch, a wellness product that is basically a sticky patch that sells for between $100 and $150 per pack. The claims made about this product were spectacular. They claimed to use phototherapy to activate your stem cells. Yet when I called their helpline and I spoke to them directly, they told me specifically that they absolutely do not claim that their product is any better for you than simply standing in the sunlight for free. Something I'm sure that legally they were forced to tell me. Still, some people were stupid enough to fall for that product and put their hand in the pocket and pay for it. And many of you might remember the sad tale of this guy. And the answer to idiocy like this is obviously science education. Rather than just telling people what works and what doesn't work, give people the ability to think critically for themselves. After all, give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day. And how does that one finish? Oh, I'm sure this guy can tell it better.
You give a poor man a fish and you feed him for a day. You teach him to fish. You give him no.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Poetry in motion. Anyway, at least we're not at the point yet where we've got, well, I don't know, famous celebrities coming out and actively promoting companies that sell wellness products. I'm sure we're not there yet, are we? Oh, shit. Meet Jessica Albert, a proud user of and one of many celebrities who regularly talk about the benefits of IS Clinical and their products. Here's their website. It's really cool. It's even got this nifty little drop-down menu. Ooh, look at that. Cancer care. Now, for the benefit of any IS Clinical lawyers watching, can I just say, I do not doubt IS Clinical's products one bit. And if you want to supply me with any of the scientific evidence to show that these products are specifically designed to help people with cancer, then please send me those scientific papers. I will publicize them for you. I cannot wait, although I will also not hold my breath because I might probably die. One of their fantastic products is the Extreme Protect Sun Cream, a bargain at just under 70 quid. And when we zoom in and look at the description, I can't see any reference to the C word whatsoever. But I think charging cancer sufferers £70 for sun cream is exactly what they need to be paying, because the alternative is only paying £5 or £6 in literally any other shop in the country. And why would they want that stress? Surely they'd jump at the chance to pay 1,000% more than they normally would for some sun cream. At least I think it's 1,000%. Let me check with this guy.
Well, the sign says that it's 4 quarters for an hour, but a quarter only gets you 15 minutes. Yeah. So if my math is correct, that's not an hour.
That's not an hour. But it is. And also
A quarter, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I cannot confirm or deny reports that man has just graduated from the Flat Earth University of Learning to Count, and it only took him 11 years to do it. Anyway, back to IS Clinical. They've got a range of products, including this eye complex for £90, which again in the description doesn't mention the C word whatsoever. So I was a little bit curious as to how cancer specific these products actually were. So luckily for me, there was a very helpful web chat person available for me to speak to. They asked me if I needed any help, and I said, yes please, I'm interested in your cancer creams and how they're actually different to non-cancer creams. Now at that point, I was immediately palmed off, so to speak, by the web chat advisor who gave me an email address to contact, and I have contacted that email, but funnily enough, I did get a reply saying that they were out of the office and I will not be able to speak to them until at least the 11th of July, but I will keep you posted with that. So I asked the web advisor if they'd at least just, I don't know, give me the headlines of what the product can do. Tell me something. And as you can see, they did tell me that the products are all results driven, so I asked, what were the results? Unfortunately, the web advisor couldn't tell me at all what the results were, so when I asked the web advisor, is the product FDA approved, and if so, what is it FDA approved for, I was immediately disconnected from the call. But don't worry guys, I will not let that go, and I know in the future you're going to be hearing a lot more from me about that company and their products, and I will look forward to showing the world the science behind how effective the products are, let's just put it that way. If you have made it this far into the video and you're new to the channel, then thank you very much. Please consider subscribing. If you are a patron or a channel member, can I please tell you how much I love you? And if I was to leave some dirty sewage in your house, I promise you it would not be full of mercury. Every time, anyway, at least. Goodbye and meow.